Today, I'll be sharing with you the Shared and Private Records project, which is scheduled to be released this December. Let's jump into the problem, and we'll talk about the project and show how it'll work. The problem that we're solving is that organizations oftentimes have these group of records that it doesn't matter who works them. That might be because they're net new leads and you're trying to get them worked quickly. You don't have time to assign an owner. Or it might be you just simply have a group of records and it doesn't matter who works those records. Today in Playbooks, the automation engine called Robots only does things based on ownership. And so that can be a challenge for organizations who are trying to work from these pools of records that any rep can pull from. So with the Shared and Private Records project, again, which is scheduled to be released in December of this year, organizations will be able to configure a robot or that automation engine to set a record as shared with a group of reps or to mark a record as private for a single rep. When a task is due on a shared record, anyone that it's shared with will have the ability to do that thing. And then private records are only worked by people who are the actual rep or the owner of the record. So using these robots, you could think of these similar to Seekless rules. You can mark something as private, make it shared, or make it shared and make it private. So I'll walk you through how that will look from the rep's perspective in Playbooks. The first thing you'll notice when you log into Playbooks is that there are 3 buckets of tasks. There are urgent tasks, which we'll talk about in a moment, personal tasks, which are the things that only I can do, and then there's the bucket of shared tasks. So urgent tasks are all around showing what I should focus on first. Urgent tasks might be a combination of both personal tasks and shared tasks. You have your personal tasks and then your shared tasks that anyone on the team can work. And you'll specify that in the robot configuration, which I'll show in just a moment. Let me show you how it'll actually work from a rep's perspective and the day-to-day activity. So as a rep, I click on shared tasks and the next shared task is loaded for me. Now, I'm the only one who can work it while it's on my screen. So we don't have to worry about 2 reps loading the same record or anything like that. I can see that it is a shared record. You see a little shared icon there at the top corner there. And I can view the record. I can see what previous steps we've done, and I can go ahead and make that phone call. So reps don't get to pick the order in which they get these shared records. When I click the next shared record button, it's automatically going to give me the best record at the top, which is important when we think about how we prioritize, how we're executing on the shared record bucket. Now, as a rep, I also have the ability to move between buckets. So maybe I've been working shared buckets for a while, and now I want to go work my personal bucket. I can do that by clicking on this little icon down here at the bottom, which will give me a menu showing me, again, all my urgent tasks, my personal tasks, and so forth. So it's very easy to move from one bucket to the next as needed. And in a moment, I'll demonstrate what we call Playbooks priority mode, which makes it so reps don't have that choice. So you can kind of pick, do you want reps to be able to choose between buckets, or are they locked into a specific view? So going over to robots first to kind of show how you configure the, what is shared and what is private. I'll just go ahead and demonstrate that really quick. In this case, I have a robot. It takes every lead that is owned by the special queue. And if it's a shared lead and a rep marks it as correct contact, then it will set the record to private. So you could do the exact opposite thing. You could create a rule that says, if it's a private record and they haven't worked on it in a long time, then mark it shared for someone else to do it because the rep's not actually doing their job. It could go a little bit simpler and just simply say, if a record meets this criteria, which is anytime a record is new, mark it as shared for this group of reps, and then any other reps will have the ability to work that record. So the key here is that robots are used to determine if a record should be shared or private, which lets you map your business process and doesn't rely on reps to decide, well, should it be shared or should it be private to me? Now, as reps are working throughout their day, they may have an urgent task that comes up. And if that urgent task is shared amongst multiple reps, they'll get this banner regardless of what bucket they're working from. So if I was working in my personal tasks and an urgent record comes up, I get notified. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be round robin notifying reps. So whoever's been waiting for an urgent task the longest, they get the first shot. They get 10 seconds. This is actually a countdown right here where it shows 2. That actually starts at 10 and slowly counts down. And then I have, if I don't take it, then it goes to the next rep and the next rep and so forth. So tasks can be marked as urgent on the administrative side, which then an urgent task will interrupt a manager or a rep as they're going throughout their day to make sure that urgent tasks are handled first. And if I don't handle it, it kind of goes on to the next person. The last piece of this project, which we'll cover in this video today, is talking about that playbook's prioritization mode. If we switch back to the main menu, right, as a rep in this traditional mode, I have the ability to pick which bucket I want to work from. I feel like I should work my personal tasks right now, so that's what I do. In the playbook's prioritization mode, that choice is eliminated. So reps don't get to pick which bucket they work from or what order they execute their tasks. When you turn this mode on, and it can be turned on for certain teams and not for other teams, they just have a start next task button where they just can click start next task. They don't get to pick the order. The management team gets to define the order inside the Playbooks Manager tool. That is the shared and private records project that we are targeting release in December of this year.